Welcome to this lesson on integers and negative numbers. Integers include all whole numbers, both positive and negative, as well as zero. You'll encounter negative numbers on the LANTITE in contexts like temperature changes, financial calculations, and interpreting data. By the end of this lesson, you'll be confident performing all 4 operations with integers. By the end of this lesson, you will understand what integers are and how to locate them on a number line. You will be able to compare and order positive and negative integers. You will know how to add and subtract integers, including when both numbers are negative. You will learn the sign rules for multiplication and division. And you will practice with LANTITE-style word problems involving negative numbers. Let's start with what integers actually are. Integers are whole numbers that can be positive, negative, or 0. They include numbers like -5, -2, 0, 3, and 10. Numbers like 0.5, 3/4, and 2.7 are not integers because they are not whole numbers. On a number line, negative numbers sit to the left of 0 and positive numbers sit to the right. The further left you go, the smaller the number. The further right you go, the larger the number. Let's look at how to compare and order integers. The key idea is to use the number line. Numbers further to the right are larger, and numbers further to the left are smaller. This gives us 3 important rules. First, any positive number is greater than any negative number. So 1 is greater than -100. Second, 0 is greater than every negative number. And third, for 2 negative numbers, the one closer to 0 is larger. So -2 is greater than -7. Let's order the numbers 3, -5, 0, -1, 4, and -3 from smallest to largest. On the number line, -5 is furthest left, then -3, -1, 0, 3, and 4. Now let's learn how to add integers. There are 2 key rules. When both numbers have the same sign, add their values and keep the sign. For example, -3 plus -5, add 3 and 5 to get 8. And since both are negative, the answer is -8. When the numbers have different signs, subtract the smaller value from the larger value and keep the sign of the number with the larger value. For example, 7 plus -3. Subtract 3 from 7 to get 4. And since 7 is larger and positive, the answer is +4. Think of it as movement on a number line. Adding a positive number means moving right. Adding a negative number means moving left. Let's work through our first example. Calculate -8 plus 3 plus -5 plus 12. The useful strategy is to group the positives and negatives separately. The positives are 3 and 12, which add to 15. The negatives are -8 and -5, which add to -13. Now combine. 15 and -13 have different signs, so subtract 13 from 15 to get 2. Since 15 is the larger value and it is positive, the answer is +2. Now let's tackle subtraction. The key rule is simple. Subtracting an integer is the same as adding its opposite. So a minus b equals a plus -b. And critically, a minus -b equals a plus b. 2 negatives next to each other become a positive. For example, 5 minus -3 becomes 5 plus 3, which is 8. Think of it this way. If you owe someone $3 and that debt is removed, you've effectively gained $3. A minus is a plus. Let's look at the table on screen. 5 minus 8 becomes 5 plus -8, which is -3. -4 minus 6 becomes -4 plus -6, which is -10. And -4 minus -7 becomes -4 plus 7, which is 3. Let's work through this example. Calculate -3 minus -9 plus -2. Step 1. Rewrite the subtraction. -3 minus -9 becomes -3 plus 9. The expression is now -3 plus 9 plus -2. Step 2. Work left to right. -3 plus 9, different signs, 9 minus 3 is 6, and since 9 is larger and positive, the answer is 6. Step 3. 6 plus -2 equals 4. The answer is 4. The sign rules for multiplication and division are beautifully simple. When you multiply or divide two numbers with the same sign, the result is positive. Positive times positive is positive. Negative times negative is also positive. When you multiply or divide two numbers with different signs, the result is negative. Positive times negative is negative. Negative times positive is also negative. Think of it this way. Same signs give a positive, different signs give a negative. These rules are identical for multiplication and division. Let's apply the sign rules. Calculate -6 times 4 divided by -3. Work left to right. First, -6 times 4. Different signs, so the result is negative. 6 times 4 is 24, so the answer is -24. Next, -24 divided by -3. Same signs, so the result is positive. 24 divided by 3 is 8. The answer is positive 8. Here is a quick check tip. Count the total number of negative signs. If there is an even number of negatives, the result is positive. If odd, the result is negative. Here we had 2 negatives, which is even, so the result is positive. This confirms our answer. Here's a LANTITE-style word problem. The temperature in Canberra at 6 a.m. was -4 degrees Celsius. By 2 p.m., it had risen by 13 degrees. By midnight, it had dropped by 9 degrees from the 2 p.m. reading. What was the temperature at midnight? Step 1. Start at -4 and add the 13-degree rise. -4 plus 13 equals 9 degrees. Step 2. From 9 degrees, subtract the 9-degree drop. 9 minus 9 equals 0 degrees. The temperature at midnight was 0 degrees Celsius. On the number line, you can see the journey, starting at -4, rising to 9, then dropping back to 0. Let's cover 4 common mistakes students make with integers. First, thinking that negative numbers with a larger digit are bigger. -3 is actually greater than -7, because -3 is closer to 0 on the number line. Second, forgetting to change the sign when subtracting a negative. Remember, minus a negative becomes plus. Third, getting the sign wrong when multiplying or dividing. Same signs give a positive, different signs give a negative. And fourth, adding instead of subtracting when a problem says the temperature dropped. A drop in temperature means you subtract. Now, it's your turn. Pause the video and try these 6 problems. Problem 1. Order -4, 2, -7, 0, and 5, from smallest to largest. Problem 2. Add -6 and -9. Both are negative, so add the values and keep the negative sign. Problem 3. 8 minus -3. Remember, minus a negative becomes plus. Problem 4. -7 times -4, same signs, so the result should be positive. Problem 5. -36 divided by 9, different signs, so the result should be negative. And problem 6. A LANTITE-style problem about a bank account. Starting at -$45 means you are overdrawn. But the deposit of $120 is added, then you withdraw $80. Work through it step by step. The answers are on screen. Let's recap what we have covered. Integers are whole numbers, including negatives, 0, and positives. On the number line, numbers to the right are larger, and for negative numbers, the one closer to 0 is larger. For addition, same signs means add and keep the sign. Different signs mean subtract and keep the sign of the number with the larger value. For subtraction, change it to adding the opposite, minus a negative becomes plus. For multiplication and division, the sign rules are simple. Same signs give a positive result. Different signs give a negative result. In word problems, look for keywords. Rise, increase, and deposit mean add. Drop, decrease, and withdraw mean subtract. Practice these rules and you will handle any integer question on the LANTITE with confidence.